Everyone, let's talk tonight about Deuteronomy chapter 31:26, where, if you're like me, many people over the years have tried to convince you that this is the book of the law of only the sacrificial system. Well, it's not. It's the entire book of the covenant. And Moses is speaking to Levites, and he says, "Take this book of the law and put it on the side of the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that it may be there for a witness against thee." Well, my friends, very clearly, God does not have to do anything, and he doesn't give partial covenants. So this had to be the entire book of the covenant. But just a simple review of 2 Kings chapter 22 will prove this. In this story, there is a young king in his 18th year, Josiah by name. You probably know him well. And he's renovating the house of the Lord because it has gone into disrepair. Well, take a look what they find in verse 8. Something stunning. It says, "And Hilkiah the high priest says to Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord." Which book of the law is that? A partial, just a sacrificial system, just a ceremonial system? No, it's the entire book of the covenant that's referred to in Deuteronomy chapter 31:26. Verse 11 literally says it's the book of the law. It's the entire law. It's all of Torah. My friends, very, very clearly, as we go on, he makes it even more clear. In chapter 23 and verse 3, the king refers to it. And he says, "And the king stood by the pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes and all with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that are written in this book." It's the entire covenant, friends. It's the entire Torah, and Josiah just showed this to us. So now we're going to turn to Colossians chapter 2 and verse 14. What did Christ nail to the tree? We can put all the pieces together now. Blotting out, Colossians 2:14, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross. Wait a minute. Deuteronomy 31:26 gives us a clue and says very clearly that that book of the law, the book of the covenant, was on the side of the ark to stand as what? A witness against thee. What did Christ nail to the tree? Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us. That's what was nailed to the cross. That old covenant law has gone into disrepair. It has gone away. Again, even though Josiah found it, when Christ comes, it passes away. We know this for sure by the time we take a look at Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 13. It says, "In that he says, a new covenant he hath made the first old. Now that which decays and waxes old is ready to vanish away." The old covenant that is containing in the book of the law, the entire book of the law, not just the sacrificial system, has been entirely fulfilled in Christ. Not just one piece, it's the entire law. He is the law fulfiller in its entirety.